Hi everybody, it's James at Cryptoconsh, and today we're going to look at Defira, or Defira, whatever it's bloody called. Usually the D and the F are capitalized, but everything's capitalized. So firstly, we're going to look at Tranquil Finance and their media engagement. Secondly, we're going to look at current price. Thirdly, we're going to have a brief look at their white paper and the tokenomics. Next, we'll have a gander at the Certik Audit. Fifthly, if that's even a word, we're going to look at their platform and liquid staking. And finally, we're going to look at this game Defira and what it's all about. Let's get into it. So firstly, Tranquil Finance has become pretty popular lately. We can see that they have 13.6 thousand followers on Twitter, and they have done extremely well with their total value locked of $500 million in such a short period of time. Their Discord has 5,000 members, and there's no sign of their growth stopping. So let's have a look at their price point. Now, this is quite fascinating to say the least. As you can see, it's a very new protocol, launched in early December. It was pretty steady for a few months, and then when they released Defira coming out, look at that boom. You don't get that every day, do you? There's some bloody happy investors there. I bet they're patting themselves on the back. Now, as we can see, after this game launch was announced, things have petered off a little bit. Yes, it rose briefly, and now it has some very strange motions in the market. They do almost look manipulated to a certain extent. Things have certainly tapered off, and that's because the game is in development. It's going to take ages before it comes out. But for me, I love games on Harmony, and I think their protocol is great. So for me, this is a good price to buy in, so I have just bought in. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I spend my money as I please. Now, let's have a look at their white paper. Let's see what Tranquil Finance have tried to achieve so far in this short period of existence on the planet. So, announced project in Q4, public sale, mainnet launch, all is there, staking. But what they've managed to achieve in such a short period of time is nothing but phenomenal. They've built their team, they've been audited, but this is the real gem here, liquid staking, and we'll get into that in a moment. They've managed to accomplish this so quickly. It is actually mind-blowing how fast they've managed to achieve such a TVL. Wow. Let's have a quick look at their tokenomics. So, a whopping 50% is going to go to incentives. Borrowing and lending in the pools, providing liquidity. Incentives often get people on board to the platform. If you are borrowing in the pools, they currently offer incentives. There may even be liquidity incentives. So if you're giving them your liquidity, you will get extra returns. There was an X-Trank public sale which offered really high returns, I believe around 120% for the year, so 5% went to that. 5% seed funding, must be careful of being classed as a security then. Sidestep that little badger. 10% to the team, but with only a 1-year vesting. When that amount of money is allocated to the team, I prefer to have much longer than a 1-year vesting period. It gives me a sense of safety knowing that they are in the game for a long period of time, rather than a short period of time where they can just boop, get out. Liquidity for the pools, and a nice 28% for other services. We'll call that one MISC, which means it can be allocated as they see fit. Partnerships, marketing, promotion, and paying for all the other assets in the building of what they're about to do, which I guess can be put into the game, because it's not that specific, is it? Now, they have been audited by Certik, and I for a long time have really liked Certik's audits. However, recently, their credibility has been brought into question by a lot of forums publicly. I've always liked them in the past, and here they did find some major issues. And looking at the data, it appears these are very serious issues, because if the admin account gets compromised, it can cause a massive amount of damage to the entire system. The team have stated how they plan to alleviate this problem if it occurs. They plan to implement a 48-hour time lock, which is good. I would prefer it if they had multi-signature wallets as well, so you need more than one account to be compromised before the entire thing's compromised. So they are taking steps to fix this, and they have been acknowledged. However, acknowledged does not mean fixed, so it is still a concern. Also, one frustrating thing about the audit is it claimed it's on the BSC, the Binance Smart Chain. It's on the Harmony network. And it does acknowledge they're on the Harmony network with 2 references to that in the text. Very confusing, and I hope it's me that's making the mistake, because that would be a very foolish mistake to make for an auditing firm. Moving forward, how do we use Tranquil? This is the protocol, and I must admit, within 4 months of development, it's absolutely brilliant. The UI does need a little bit of work though. I love staking my one, and I love trying to get more gains from it. Some very brave people have actually found a way to get 40% from staking their one using ST1 on Tranquil. It is complicated, this process, but basically, if we launch the app, basically there are supply markets and borrow markets, okay? What I can do is I can put some of my one on here, and then I can convert it to ST1, right? Now, if I convert it to ST1, I get 9.56% based on my one coin, okay? Now, with that, I can also take this ST1, go back to markets, and I can also deposit this ST1 here. So I can get the APY from this as well, which is a total of around 16-17%. Now, what other people do, which is quite interesting, and it's surprising, is they click this collateral, right? So what they can do is they can borrow from themselves again, get it over here, lock that in again, borrow from themselves again, and each time they borrow and lock it in, the proportion gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But ultimately, they can make more money because at the moment, borrowing is incentivized. So you get more money back from the borrowing. I am very risk averse, so I'm not going to do that. I'm quite happy to just stake my one and my ST1, and that's it. But this is called liquid staking, and it's a beautiful, revolutionary thing. They've managed to do this in a very short period of time and get an incredibly large amount of TVL. For me personally, I went onto the Trank page. I got in just now at this low price. I converted my 1 to Trank, and now I've staked and locked my Trank for 6 months because I believe over time, as more people garner interest towards the game, it's going to do pretty well. And the staking rewards are 60%, so after 6 months, I should have 30% more Trank. If that's gone up in value, great. If it's gone down by 30%, it doesn't matter because it'll be at 0 again. With this ST1 people get, some even took riskier bets. They went over to the Artemis protocol, and look at this APR, 346% if you mix ST1 with MIS. But for me, this is a very new platform with a very small market cap. I'm very risk averse. Some others went to farmers only. And again, total value locked is a little bit small for me. If you're into high risk, there is a chance for you to make a lot of money in the early stages of these protocols. But again, I'm risk averse, so I'm calm. You do what you want. Now, Defira. As I said, when it was announced, the price took a real hike and it's gradually been receding. Currently, they already have 2,727 followers. Not bad for a game that doesn't even exist yet. The website looks very pretty, but there's actually nothing you can do on it yet. As I said, super early stages. But let's have a look at why they did this in their general direction. I mean, they've done so well so far. Why not keep the ball rolling? If we think about competitors like DeFi Kingdoms, what do they have? They have liquidity pools. They have places to exchange currency. And on top of that, they've added a little bit of gameplay. Tranquil Finance already have most of these features. And not only that, they have the addition of liquid staking, which is a game changer, by the way. Half of the hard part is already done. If they get their UI right, they can embed that straight into the game. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Some people think they've done a complete 180. I don't think so. It makes perfect sense to embed something they already have into something like DeFi Kingdoms has done. Why wouldn't they? And these are their plans for their DeFi game. A bustling metropolis with magical powers and fantasy races. They want a classic marketplace, of course. Bank, yeah, for staking and lending. Liquid staking, that's what we love. Get that extra harmony. Stablecoins, insurance, they've got so much. And that is so cool, calling the insurance an armorer. The graphics already look pretty cool, very Star Wars-esque. And they're right here when they say it will be a first-class DeFi product in its own right. It's already looking that way. The decks will have ST1 pairs. Now this is cool. Look at the graphic design. They want it to be Final Fantasy-esque. Again, NFT heroes. I love that concept where they can level up. It's clear they've already got good artists on the game. They intend to make it a strategy game where you can have a small party of adventurers. And it looks like there's going to be a PvE and a PvP environment. Player versus player and player versus environment. Beautiful. Member of the team worked in the AAA game industry, which is very important experience, no matter how brief it was. Sure, we've still got some contacts that are in it. So this is why I'm quite bullish on Trank. They're going to be using that in the game. You're buying features, you're summoning new heroes, you're purchasing land. Probably takes about 6 months for the game to come out. I'm doing the math. So again, like most games, they're looking to make it decentralized, but let's see how that goes, because there's good DAOs and there's bad DAOs. But overall, so far, I really like what they've achieved in 4 months, and it actually works. This is not a flash in the pan. I'm loving the graphics that they've released already so quickly. I'm loving the concept. I'm loving the fact they can embed what they've created already into the game. I'm loving the fact that Trank has a high APR at the moment, and it's going to have a very strong use case in the future. Saying that, ST1 looks like it's also going to have a really strong use case, as it's going to be a liquidity pair. So, in conclusion, I'm feeling quite positive about this. I love games on the Harmony network because it has 2-second finality, which means transactions occur in 2 seconds or less. Also, it's super cheap. It's less than a fraction of a dollar to do transactions. You can get your money in and out of your wallet super quick for super cheap. For me, this platform, the Harmony platform, is perfect for gaming. Also want to say the guys have experience in the gaming industry. They've already done half the job by actually building and putting into use a liquid staking platform. And of course, Trank is going to have a much stronger use case over time if it's used for in-game transactions. That is, of course, if the game takes off. As you guys probably know by now, I'm a huge fan of games on the Harmony network. I always look to get in early, I always look to support them, and I always look to see where it goes. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about this project down below. If you like what you saw today, give us a cheeky subscribe. It's James from Cryptoconsh, and I'll see you later.